tell us what you got for your prospects. It's now time for another segment that is still unsponsored. Vinny's Prospect Reports, brought to you by nobody. Go ahead.
Yeah, so thanks to the sponsor for sponsoring us. Appreciate it, nobody. My first one is a pretty popular one in the prospect world. It is Kyle Manzardo. He's going at pick 397, which feels like way too low. Although I get why, right? He hasn't played.
Dude, are there drafts
before.
out there that have 397 picks? I just have to ask.
Oh yeah, I mean, let's see this.
What's
this
the math
draft
on
right
that?
here goes down to 750.
Oh my god.
I mean, yeah, we're playing some deep leagues over here.
I mean, if you have a 25-man roster, which I think is a lot, right? Is that a lot? Like you usually have like
ours in our league is 22 starting
22
and then six spot bench.
Really?
So 28.
Yeah, I guess.
We're only in a
Still,
12
that would be
team,
like
so that's 330.
That's 330. Yeah.
Yeah.
This
so
is
I knew,
390.
15 teamers. If you have a 15
yeah, I
teamer,
guess so.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. 390 is low. Yeah, that's a lot. All right, go ahead.
So yeah, I mean Manzardo for some of those 15 team leagues as your last pick or a corner again, maybe another corner infield. I would rather have him over Ty France, but again, maybe that's just my prospect luck or my love or my Midwest love.
No, that's fine. Who does he play for?
He plays for the Cleveland Guardians. He is going to be the first baseman there this year. He's kind of got that position locked and loaded. They're going to give it to him. So that's another reason why I like him, is because it's kind of like his position to lose. He came over in the Aaron Savali trade when they traded him over to the Tampa Bay Rays. So the Cleveland Guardians.
You know what happens when Tampa trades guys? They seem to always get better after the trade.
Yeah, and
I hope my sarcasm is translating.
Yeah, Tampa knows how to develop players and find players.
And when they're done with them, they trade them away.
Okay, I mean, maybe, yeah. Who are you referring to in particular?
It just feels like every time a guy reaches prime and then Tampa trades him away, the guy gets worse, not better, right? I mean, it's more like who? I mean, we've seen it with starting pitchers over the years, right? With Garza and Shields and Price and kind of Blake Snell, but then Blake Snell kind of came back, so not really Blake Snell, but Chris Archer. Yeah, I mean, those are just
a lot of pitchers, right? Yeah,
a lot of guys who were really good on Tampa and then were really bad elsewhere.
I have high hopes for Manzardo. I think he has, out of all of the prospects that come up, I think he has a very safe floor. So I would feel comfortable taking him. I think he is going to outperform his 397 ADP. We will see. That is my first call out. My second one. Oh God.
Go ahead. Since we mentioned Tampa for a second, Yandy Diaz, like guys like that who just, I feel like we talk about biases. There's an anti-bias when it comes to Tampa. Like they never have big names, and then you look at their numbers, and these guys are ridiculously good. What do you think about guys like that? There's another name that I'm blanking on right now, but Yandy Diaz is one of those guys who's like, oh my God, this guy has ridiculous numbers, and people just don't look at him because he plays for the Rays.
Yeah, I think Yandy, he's like he reminds me of a Cabrian Hayes, like on steroids. Like Cabrian Hayes is Yandy Diaz light. Yandy Diaz is a phenomenal hitter. He hits the ball super hard. He's got a great plate approach. He does everything you want out of a hitter. The problem, though, is we play fantasy baseball, right? And he hits the ball so hard, but he hits it on a line. And so that's kind of the problem, is he doesn't get enough loft to really see that power explode. Now, last year he hit 22 home runs, which is a career high by a pretty wide margin. So with a 5.7 degree launch angle, there's just, even if he hits the ball super hard, there's no way he's going to hit 22 again. I don't see it. So maybe that's it, but he's a very good high floor play. I think Yandy Diaz is a good call out. Where's he's going at 130, right around Salvador Perez. I mean, I'd rather have him than Sal, but yeah, I think that's a fair price for him. What are your thoughts on Yandy?
No, I was curious your thoughts, because in general, I think we don't talk enough, and it always seems like they're always in it. They always have a good team. They always have a solid roster, and maybe they'll take a step back, obviously, this year a little bit. And I think that's what's expected. But I mean, across the board, they're pretty good. And they have some guys that when you look at their numbers, you're like, hey, these guys are actually better than, the household names that we're used to seeing. But I interrupted your prospect report, and the sponsors are going to be mad, so please continue.
I love the sidetracks, the tangents. That's where we learn stuff on tangents.
That's my brain, in case you're wondering, in a nutshell. Everything reminds me of something, And then I just,
My second prospect report pick is Michael Busch, who just got traded. Again, you're going to love this NL Central bias here because all of my guys are NL Central guys. Michael Busch his ADP before getting traded to the Cubs was 481. Now, just since that trade and since February 1st, his ADP has gone up 100 picks at 391. And I think that's only going to go higher as the season gets closer. The big problem with Michael Busch is he doesn't play defense at a high level. So the Cubs are typically a defensive first team. They like to have a good defense. So that could cost him some playing time, but his offensive numbers are so good that I almost just don't care, especially at that price at 390. He had 150 WRC plus in 98 games last year in AAA. So dude knows how to hit. And his poor MLB debut, he had 81 plate appearances. I'm not going to take any stock into that. I'm not worried about him at the MLB level. I think he's ready. I think he was blocked by the Dodgers organization. Michael Busch, one to watch out for at 391. Probably going to go a little bit higher. And then my last prospect guy, another NL Central dude, Luken Baker. So I if my friend Tyler's listening, Tyler, I owe you an apology. Tyler drafted Luken Baker in one of our dynasty startups. And I kind of was like, who the heck is this dude? Like, I don't know every prospect. I'd never heard of this guy.
Sounds like Tyler should be co-hosting the podcast.
You're absolutely right. Because I looked at some of this guy's numbers. This guy put up video game, like throughout the entire season last year, he put up video game numbers. 334, 439, 720 slash line, 720 slugging percentage. He had 33 home runs in 84 games, struck out 20% of the time, walked 15% of the time. Those are great numbers. He plays for the St. Louis Cardinals. I probably should have mentioned that. That is the big issue. He's behind Paul Goldschmidt, right? And we just talked about Goldschmidt maybe having an age decline. If Goldie gets hurt at any point in the season, the Cardinals will be hard-pressed not to bring up Luken Baker. I think Luken Baker could have a huge impact this year. He's not one that I'm going to go out and draft or necessarily, make trades for because Goldie has been so consistent for so long. He's going to play. The Cardinals pay him a lot of money. So Luken's going to have a hard time finding playing time, but definitely one to watch out for if Goldie gets hurt because he put up some ridiculous numbers last year. So Luken Baker is my last pick. Michael Busch and then Kyle Manzardo are my other two.
And you think Baker's more the type of guy that if you're not in one of those deep dynasty leagues, you could be looking at him like as, hey, something's going on and keep your eye on him throughout the season, maybe pick him up off the waiver wires kind of a week or two before he's getting called up, be ahead of the curve. And then all of a sudden you have that guy who's, oh my God, who's this guy who's come on in the second half and is changing your season? That's the type of guy that it sounds like he is. And Tyler better be listening to the podcast because you're a bad friend if you're not. So that's how I feel about every one of my friends who's not listening right now.